you know how to write cover letter. And you know, last year, at least I applied for jobs in 2 years. And in the first year, I didn't get anything.
Mm.
In the second year, I got about 15 interviews, 15 Skype phone interviews, and one on-campus interview. But you know, that's the year when I was in Auburn University, and again, I did not have much experience. I just prepared my pocket better because you know, thanks to that they called me to interview. But my communication skills or maybe my English was not that good. I remember one time, you know, they called me on phone, and it's extremely complicated, difficult to talk with phone. So I said, you know, he asked me some question, and I gave an answer. I said, no, Dr. Hoa, I asked you another question, not this one. I said, what? So I failed, of course. And then last year, I got about 45 phone Skype interviews, and 5, 6 on campus interview, and I got about 2, 3, maybe 4 offers, and I choose choice. I choose choice, you know. So the most important in when you apply for a job or when you apply for whatever, right? For scholarship or for internship, something like that, you have to prepare a very good application packet. And one of the most important is this cover letter. So in my experience, job hunting is like, you know, fishing. Why is that? Because you know, two guys, they are fishing at the same place, right? But one guy catch a lot of fish and one guy catch nothing. Do you know that? Yeah, that is the thing. So it really depends on, I mean, attitude or something like that. I'll tell you, this is my good friend from UNF. He's associate professor, and he helped me a lot in application packet, in preparing application packet. And this guy is the department chair of my department at UNF. And we and I went fishing with them this spring break. So.
Did you catch any fish?
Yeah, you know, I went to Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent 3 days there. First day go fishing, second day fishing, and then the third day I gave a Tokyo. And then I come back. So enjoy a lot. And this guy, you know, each time when we go fishing with him, yeah, he catch all for us. But he does not need fish, but he catch all for us. So that is the thing. Yeah, that is some kind of fishing. Someone may do that really well, but you know, someone cannot do anything about that. So this about the baits, right? Different fish need different baits. So, for example, I'm applying for a job, for a professor job, right? I have to prepare my application packet differently. But you know, I want to make some formula for our jobs. So you have to write cover letter like this, right? You have formula, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Something you have to write it down and you have to modify that, and that's all for cover letter. Because when you prepare for job hunting, you should apply to different positions, right? Maybe hundreds, maybe 200s. I remember I applied for 250 positions, and sometimes it's annoying. You know, it was very annoying and stressful. You have to modify your cover letter. You have to modify your application bucket a little bit when you apply for a position. So try to get a very universal formula for you. That is my advice. And so each time you will not spend too much time to modify it, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So, and in my opinion, so in your application packet, you need to tell them who you are, and you have to give them a picture about that, right? Picture means, yeah, you describe you are so handsome, you are so beautiful, right? And you work so hard, you are so helpful, you are so nice, or something like that. So, and of course you have to describe you somehow. They say, yeah, this guy is maybe a good fit for their position. And not only that, not only good fit for their position, a good fit for their culture. That is very important, you know. I have some on-campus interview, and sometimes when people invite you to on-campus interview, that means you are qualified for that position. So they can pick one of you, right? One of 3 or 4 candidates from on-campus interview. So the most important thing in that process is they want to see how you are a good fit for them and for their culture. You know that? So that is very important. So they check your communication skills. That is not about your knowledge because they know already, right? Otherwise they would not invite you to on-campus. So they check your communication skills, they check your culture, how you fit to their culture. I remember when I was visiting at the University of North Florida. They at that year they hired one new professor, and they say, that guy is very silent, and sometimes he's nervous to talk to other people. But why did they hire him? They hire him because they say they have different talkative people are there. So they need some guy just silent. You know that? So you never predict what happened when during job hunting and hiring. So just show them that who you are, okay? And so and then if you are fit to them, they will take you, they will get you, they will hire you. Okay? So don't try to fit anyone. It's no way to do that. Don't try to do that. Makes sense? Just show who you are and show the best about that. So give them a picture, the best things about you, right? Don't show them the worst things. Maybe sometimes they ask you about the worst things. So you know that, right? About the weaknesses or something like that. But I have formula how to answer those questions, but maybe not today. All right. So in the cover letter, you have to show them a picture, and I have 4 questions for that picture. The first question, who am I, right? When you write a cover letter, or when you write a resume, or when you write a CV or something like that, you have to answer who you are and who am I, right? I have to write, I have to describe myself. And in my opinion, that is the first question, and that is the most difficult question. Because you have to understand yourself. You have to understand your weaknesses, your strengths, right? You have to understand your knowledge. And you have to understand what you want to do and what you know. That is, you see, that is difficult in my opinion. Not easy at all. Because you cannot say beautiful words about you. You know why? And you don't have that quality. Because when people interview you, right? You may have a very good application packet, but when people interview you, they will see that right away. For example, you are interviewing me, right? You see, I say something and you didn't catch that, but maybe you catch that. Makes sense? So they will catch you. It's easy, and they are more experienced than you. So don't try to lie. That's why you have to understand yourself very well, and understand that and try to make, I call, selling points. So when you interview, when you write application packet, you need to have some selling points, right? And because you want to sell yourself, right? If you don't have selling points, people don't like you, definitely. You want to sell some good, right? And that good is not good, no, they don't like it. So try to sell. So, okay, so we have to talk about knowledge. So you have to understand, what you know and who you are in expertise, your experience. So if I apply for a teaching job, I have to say about my teaching experience, how I know, right? New teaching methods, something like that, active teaching, active learning, and how many years, right? Have I taught math in how many years? Have I taught math in the US or somewhere else? So people should see about that. And skills. For example, that is extremely useful for you, right? You are students, and if you want to apply for internship or for a job in industry. So people say a lot about skills. Because in in your resume, you have to highlight your skills, your knowledge and skills. And my friends, I interview several doctors, several people who are doctors and who are working in industry. They say, yeah, in resume you just highlight some some works like you have to check the job description and highlight that in your cover letter or in CV or in resume. So people will just scream very fast about that. Yeah? They will not read everything. Makes sense? And cover letter should be in one page because they will not read that. If you write more than one page, no. And you have to show them about personality. So like you are nice, you are helpful, but you have to give evidence. So that is difficulty, right? You can say many things beautiful, but you have to give them an evidence about that. Without evidence, no one will believe you. Get it, right? All right. And the second question, who are you, means who are they? Who are they? You have to understand about them, about employer, right? They want to hire you, and who are they? So you have to do homework. And of course, you have to work on advertisement. You have to do homework about the institution where you want to be, right? You have to do homework. We call do homework about people. So try to Google, try to find all information about them and learn about it. In case if they call you to interview, so those information are extremely useful. Yeah, for example, if you want to apply for an internship, right? For PhD, that's good. Let me tell you about for PhD scholarship, right? You want to work with some professor on that department, and you don't know what he's doing, right? It's not good. Or at least, of course, maybe in the US is a different system. So you apply for a scholarship and you stay there maybe for 2 years at the TA, right? And then after that you choose advisor. That means at the beginning when you apply for a scholarship, you may not have to tell them the person you want to work with, right? But if you have that person in your mind, that would be perfect. You say, yeah, I want to work, I like this, and I feel this field is good, this area is good, and this very perspective. So I want to work in that direction, and I see that in the department that professor is working on that, and I like his research. Make sense? So you can refer, to someone in that institution, and that means you already have you already did some homework, and you know about them. Make sense? And that's why you know about them. You want to be there with them, because job application, that is win-win process. What does mean win-win? Win-win means they also want to hire someone, right? And of course we want job. They will not hire someone bad, so that after 1 or 2 years they have to hire another one. Make sense? Of course in industry maybe that's easier. In industry maybe you work there for a couple of months and then you don't like them and you just quit the job, right? But for example for professors or professor position, basically they have to hire people who will work with them for the whole life. We don't expect to work for a couple of years and then quit the job. So it depends on the culture of the job. Make sense? So we have to understand that. So that is win-win. They should know about you. They should be fit for you, and you should be fit for you for them. So try to understand as much as possible about that. All right. And the next question is, you have to show in the cover letter why should they hire you, right? Why should they hire you? And so that question is, sometimes we say, yeah, just tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself, or just tell us why should we hire you? And that means you have to prove that, yeah, you are good for that position, and you have to point out again selling points, right? Strengths. Make sense? So something like that. You have to express those things in your cover letter. So yeah, so read carefully the job requirements, and then try to point out qualities about you which are good fit for requirements. Okay, and sometimes culture is unpredictable, so just keep in mind about that.
So how do you tell Troy that you fit into their culture? Firstly, how do you figure out the culture in any university?
Oh, first, I when I did search about Troy, about my department, I saw Dr. Bellu and Dr. Voloshin.
Right.
So of course, I recognize them because they are Russian speakers.
Right.
And I study in Russia, so
Right.
I speak Russian, and it's good. It's very good. And at least I know Russian culture. I know people. And for me, and not only for me, for many people, when you start working somewhere and you have someone to understand you, for example, you speak in Russian, that is very nice. And actually, it was very nice on job interview. We not only spoke in English, but sometimes we spoke in Russian. And they like that because I speak Russian really well. So, yeah, I would say my Russian is very, very good. Okay, so this is question: what do we want to work for us, right? That is about why do you want to work for us? That is about how they are good for you. Make sense? So you have to understand them very well, and you say, yeah, I like this at your place. I like this person. I want to work with that guy, right? Something like that. When I know call letters, so I have to do search about them. I have to go to Math.net. Math.net is that is American Math Society website, and they have all profiles of all mathematicians. So I go to Math.net to search each name in that department. So I see how many papers they have, right? And what are they doing in research? And so I try to link my research to their research. Say, yeah, I'm doing research in matrix theory, and you are doing in that. I think we might find some connection. And that is very good to collaborate when you work together, So even you work in industry, right? But you have to do something together. Teamwork is very important. So try to study about them. And each time, I think all time remember my talk. Right. So when I gave talk, I say about operator modern functions, right? And actually, he's not here, so I can tell you that. Actually, we have some connection with Dr. Bellu. Right. He's doing in operator theory, but some very small intersection like operator modern function, right? But he does research on that theory, but from another point of view. I say, yeah, I now maybe Dr. Bellu will like this because I'm talking about this theory. He said, yeah. I mean, just give people a feeling that we might collaborate with them. But actually, we can make collaboration, and that's very important. Right? Of course, you don't have to make collaboration right away, right? We don't have to collaborate in the first year or in the second year, maybe after 10 years, right? Who knows about that? So try to learn a lot about them and tell them that yes, you want to do because they are good environment, right? Good environment, good people, and you like culture. For example, maybe you go to Facebook or somewhere, you see how they hang out with each other, and you like that. Makes sense? So try to learn more about them, get more information about it, and show that in your call letter. All right. So and then we have to draft a letter, right, based on those information. So my formula is the following. I'll give you. Can you read this?
Yeah.
Can you read it? Okay. So that's fine. So I don't have to show another one. So I try to work out formula, how to, about cover letter, right? First, there should be in one page. Okay, here's the information about me. That's where I was, right? At the University of North Florida, in Jacksonville. And here, yeah, this format, but you know, different people choose different one, but I choose this format. And that works for me. And the first one, the first paragraph, you have to tell overall about you. In here, so the body of letter, you have to show them in detail about what you have to say about it in here, right? In the first paragraph. So like, yeah, the first paragraph is summary, right, about you. And then in detail, you don't have to say all about you, right? Just pick selling points, the best selling points about you, and tell them about it in here, right? And then you have to choose one paragraph. One paragraph, you talk about it. Okay, yeah, we will just and then closing. That's it. So basically, your letter would contain one. Okay, this part is okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 parts. Okay. So now let's discuss each part. First, you have to describe about you. So for example, here my strengths, right? So I have many papers, and you know, since here I apply for professor position. So I understand that for professors, there are 3 components. They are the most, you know, important 3 components. First, teaching, research, and service. Okay, so I have to stress my letter on those 3 components. So I have to describe myself as a researcher, as a teacher, and as a faculty member. It's about service. Make sense? So you see, you have to understand your job. You have to understand your job and try to describe yourself. You know, so they see, yeah, you are a very good guy in this job. So as a researcher, I'm active or something like that, right? I just show them a number. As a teacher, yeah, I just say, yeah, student central means, you know, that is very hot keyword. Student central means you are teaching, but you know, focus on your students, so you help them, you do everything for them to be successful. And then you are a good faculty member, you are helpful. How is that? So you say, yeah, you are very active, you know, and faculty regularly participate in university and department activities. So just write a very first paragraph about you, right? And then in the next, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 1, 2, 3. Because here, you know, I have 3 components, right? Research, teaching, and service. So I need 3 paragraphs in here to describe about that. About research, about teaching, and about service. Make sense? So if about teaching, since here I apply, this is not apply to Troy, you know, not the university, but the letter is almost the same. So since this is teaching institution, I say a lot about teaching experience. I say about my success in teaching, right? So I have to point that out, you know, because those are selling points for me. For example, you know, teaching, I did active teaching and have students, you know, do project-based learning, project-based teaching, something like that.
Do you think it is good to add the word like excellent in that line? Because
no.
when I read, I mean that's your choice, but when I read, I think it felt quite like.
As I told you, don't write very fancy and beautiful words. People will know about it. You need to have an evidence for each selling point.
Right.
Makes sense? So you try to sell something, but you sell those things not in words. You have to sell evidence. Because without evidence, no one will believe it. Makes sense? So be careful with that, you know. Otherwise, people say, hey, this guy is lying. No way. Don't get it done. So you see, first paragraph describe about components of your job, right? And then next describe in more detail about each one. And the order of letter is order of paragraphs are also important. You know why? Because people the most important you just put in the before, right? Do you know that? So put before, and usually people will read the first half of letter. So people, sometimes they are lazy, they don't read the whole letter, even in one page. But the first half they should read. So try to put most important information in the first half of your letter. Make sense? You know. And then in closing, you have to describe a little bit about them. You say, yeah, you like that. Maybe that is very diverse working environment. Diverse in sense that, you know, they have different people doing in different areas, right? Or the faculty body is diverse, or the body, you know, employee body where you want to be is diverse, and that is very good environment for us. Diverse is very good thing, diversity. So, and describe all that, and here you can show, for example, the diverse because they have faculty members from different countries, right? And you search on website and Google and say, yeah, actually the class size there is very small, and that's very good for you to be a teacher. A good, diverse in research, you know, good environment to be a good teacher, and then maybe a good place for you to live. Don't be shy to mention that. Say some guys say that city I like that, and here's the trick. If that city is small, right? You say, you know, I'm working at I was a student at Troy or something like that. Troy is a very small city, and I like quiet city. Makes sense? And say if that job and if that university or institution in a big city like Jacksonville, I mean, she's going there, right? Jacksonville. Yeah, sometimes you say, yeah, I was studying at Troy for 4 years, and it's a small, quiet city, and now I want to change that. I want to be in a big city like Jacksonville. So you may say about that differently, you know, it depends on the situation. But you know, but that is not the thing you are lying. That's not the thing you are lying. You are just saying your excitement about it. Yeah, so you know, that is the whole thing about call letter I want to share. Yeah. Do you have a question?
I have one question. Like you told that the research paper is all about collaboration. So I wanted to know: have you ever published a research paper on your own, like without support of anyone?
Yes, I have some papers. Not with me. Yeah, you.
Just by yourself, everything.
Yes.
That's nice.
Having someone write papers for me.
No, like because many people they work with other people and collaborate. So.
But collaboration is a good thing. You know, sometimes we try to cooperate with more people. You know, that is how we can enlarge. We can, you know, enlarge our collaboration and connection and networks. Don't try to work alone. That's my advice. So you have to work together. Even that, you know, I remember one time he came to me and I said, Dr. Hoa, I will write paper and put your name in my paper. I said, no, thank you, I have enough.
Right.
But after that, you know, he stopped coming to me.
Yeah, I got into grad school, so I don't have to worry about it.
So you don't want to write paper for me? All right, I'm just kidding. So, is it useful?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that you like that, and maybe next time I will tell you how to write emails.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is very important too.
That would be nice.
We would love that.
Yeah. How to write, because you know, I got emails from him and from other students saying what, and actually that is not surprising, because many people even, you know, and when you write emails, just communicate with your friends, that's okay. But when you write emails during job application, you have to be very careful, because otherwise, you know, just they read your email and they never want to hire you. So maybe next time.
Good.
Thank you,
All right.
Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.